Cheers and welcome my friends, I'm Horath and we are playing Stellaris. It's finally out. This is going to be episode 0 where I go over the settings and the species creation. If you want to see gameplay, please skip to episode 1. There's going to be none of it in this episode, but some people want to see the settings and the character or species creation, so I'm going to do that right now. Let's go. We're going to start a new game and I've already gone ahead and created the species that I am going to play in this series. I'm just going to go in and edit, and I'm going to tell you what the idea behind these guys is. So we're going to play the Great Old Ones after the Cthulhu mythos of H.P. Lovecraft. The Great Old Ones are gods, and Cthulhu, who is portrayed as a humanoid, a giant humanoid, with an octopus head and wings, kind of like a mixture of a man, an octopus, and a dragon, is one of the deities that slumbers under the ocean of Earth in the sunken city of R'lyeh. And the backstory for this series is going to be that, he woke up and brought back the Great Old Ones. Great Old Ones have taken over Earth and are moving out into the galaxy to enslave all beings. And I think this character portrait is quite fitting. You do have a lot of options to customize your race, which is going to be one of the really fun parts of Stellaris. So let's go through it just very quickly. So you do have a lot of appearances here to choose from. You do have these sort of families. I could have played with one of the pre-order things maybe, but I think this is going to be fine. So gives us the nicest backstory. This is our name, our plural, and our adjective, Great Old Ones. This is going to be our ship prefix. You can do all the prefixes that you want. I could go longer with this as well. So I could go Cthulhu, but no, this is fine. And then you have names, and you can see what kind of names are going to be generated by this. What did I take here? No, not mammalian. I do think I took this. Yeah, molluscoid number 1. But I'm gonna be renaming stuff after Cthulhu gods, Cthulhu mythos gods, and all that to stay with the theme. You can customize your race pretty heavily. There are a lot of options in here. And you do have a certain amount of trade points and a certain amount of trade picks, which is why I ended up with 1 trade point left, but no trade pick to put that surplus of trade points into another thing, which is kind of unfortunate. But maybe it prevents you from stacking overpowered stuff. I'm just going to go through this very quickly. So we are venerable, which means our leaders live way longer than most other species. Just because we are the Great Old Ones, we are gods. I cannot make them immortal, but I can make them grow very, very old. And you can see that this cost me 4 points. So if I were to get rid of this, I would get the 4 points back and could pick another trade there. Some extremely adaptive, for example, costs 5 points. But yeah, this is going to be a role-playing thing, so we're going to have venerable. Then we're going to be decadent, so we need slaves. The Great Old Ones had a slave race called the Shoggoths that they created to do all the menial tasks for them. And we're going to go out into the galaxy and conquer us some real slaves. We are repugnant because, look at him. And we are also solitary because every one of the Great Old Ones is a god and doesn't really require company. They're very powerful beings, and they're going to be, pretty annoyed if they have to share the same room with another god. It's not befitting. Yeah, you can do a lot of things here. I do hope that with more DLCs there come more traits and more abilities to pick stuff, but we will be able to modify our genes in the game and get more of these traits by gene modification. I do think that it's going to have some side effects, but oh well, we'll deal with it when we get there. So we're going to have 1 trade point left for that. This is going to be our ruler, Cthulhu. It's going to be male. There are some color variants that we could choose. I'm going to go with this because it looks the most Cthulhu-esque. There are clothes in here as well that we could change. And then we have to choose our homeworld type. So if you have a look at this, this determines which planets we can settle and how good we are at settling certain planets. So we are best at settling ocean worlds because R'lyeh lies under the oceans of Earth, and most of the great old ones are kind of aquatic. So this is kind of fitting. So ocean habitability 80%, continental and Arctic 60%, and tropical and tundra habitability 20%. So we can barely manage to habit tropical and tundra worlds. Our people are not going to be very happy on these. So we want to stay with the oceans, the continentals, and the what's the other one? Arctic. Yeah, that's going to be good. And you can see that our ocean world has 2 planets opposite of it. Every planet has 2 opposite planets, and our opposite planets are desert worlds and arid worlds. We can't settle these at all because our people just can't stand these sorts of planets. It's going to be very difficult for them to even survive on planets that aren't as, let's say, humid as the ocean world. So we won't be able to settle them if we don't get another race of slaves that we can use to settle these planets. Alright then, and we're gonna start in the Sol system because R'lyeh lies on Earth, and I'm just thinking that Cthulhu took over Earth. You can have other systems. You can have a random system, random starting solar system. You can have Sol, or you can have Deneb. In this game, some of the lore states that humanity sent out 6 colony ships at some point through unstable wormholes, and they never heard back from these colony ships, but one of the colony ships seems to have found a habitable world and have basically settled this thing, and they are militarists and xenophobes. These guys are fascists, basically. So you have kind of a parallel human empire somewhere out there, and their home system is the Deneb system, so you can recreate that if you want. But we're going to start in the solar system, so our own star system. That's going to be fun. Yeah, you can determine your homeworld name and your star name. Then you can change your choose your city appearance. We're going to have a molluscoid city. This doesn't really change anything gameplay wise, and then we are here. There's a very important screen, so you can choose certain ethics for your empire. These are all opposing each other, so you have militarist and pacifist over here. You have xenophobe and xenophile. You have collectivist versus individualist, and you have spiritualists or materialists, and all of these come in two grades. You can either be a normal xenophobe or you can be a fanatic xenophobe. And as you see, we get 3 ethics points, so we can choose from these things. If we want to go fanatic anywhere, we're going to take 2 points. If we go just normal xenophobe, we're going to take 1 point. And this allows you in a very flexible way to form empires however you want them. Materialist, for example, is sort of a sciencey thing where you you're not really denouncing the god, but you just cast away God, spirits, and other phantasms of the brain and just concentrate on the hard science. So you could be a fanatical materialist and individualist state. So you uphold the rights of the individuals and you're very sciencey. Whatever you choose here is going to be affecting how you interact with other empires, with things that happen. And yeah, this is greatly going to change your gameplay. We're going to be spiritualists because we are gods, obviously. We're going to be militarists because we are very warlike. And we're going to be xenophobes because we hate all lesser races. We're really evil bastards, evil gods. So our populations are going to be xenophobes, and they won't mind if we take alien slaves. We have an alien slavery tolerance of plus 50%. So depending on what ethics you choose, you're gonna have different choices of government, which you can choose from here. Each of these columns is representing a different basic idea of government. So you have the rule of one, you have the rule of a couple, and you have the rule of many. So the rule of many is democracies, republics, all that kind of jazz. The rule of some, or of a couple, is a military junta, a theocratic oligarchy, science directorate, or plutocratic oligarchy. You can see that some of them are grayed out because some of our choices over here forbid the selection of these things. The rule of one is military dictatorship, divine mandate, or despotic empire. That is what we can choose here. And we're going to choose divine mandate. This government is a spiritualistic form of autocracy where the ruler is treated as a divine symbol. Organized religion is widely employed in support of the state apparatus. We're basically the Cthulhu cult, or the Great Old Ones cult, with Cthulhu as our leader, which is very fitting for the Great Old Ones. And each of these has some sort of a unique bonus. So we're going to have another plus 50% slavery tolerance. So our people should be very acceptant of alien slaves and should even accept enslaving our own people to in some form. We're not going to do that because we're not going to enslave other gods, but we could. Whilst despotic empires can build, each ruler can build an oversized military station, and in the military dictatorship, each ruler can build an oversized ship. So I think you can amass a very strong army if you're a military dictatorship. Each one of these has some sort of things and some sort of unique benefit, and that is going to greatly change how your game plays out. You can choose your empire name and your adjective, and there are a lot of symbols in here. So there are forms that you can take. We're gonna stay with this guy. I mean, I could go here or here. These are also kind of fitting, but I do like that this looks like a very menacing Cthulhu. So we're gonna go with that. You can have different flag shapes and stuff. That's all very well thought out. And then you can choose your starting weapon. So this is sort of a rock, paper, scissors system where you have projectile weapons, basically. Machine guns, projectile weapons, but with a very high velocity, so that they really hit hard when they meet any sort of surface. They are very good against shields. Then you have energy weapons, lasers, that are very good against armor, and then you have missile weapons, which are armed with nuclear warheads. They are very long-range weapon, but you can shoot them down with point defense systems. We're going to stay with missiles because I think it fits. And then you have to choose your FTL method. So this is faster than light travel. That's going to be very interesting. So warp travel allows you to go everywhere where you want, but you are rather slow. You're basically moving inside a bubble. This is interesting. It is the easiest to understand. Then you have hyperspace travel. So there are hyperspace lanes between systems, and you can travel very fast along these lanes, but you are sort of locked and restricted to these hyperspace lanes. So this creates choke points and stuff, and you can run into trouble if you have hyperspace lanes and another player has warp travel, for example, because that other player can hit you very unexpectedly while you're restricted to hyperspace travel. And we're gonna go with wormhole travel, which is the most interesting because it is very fast, but we need wormhole generators to open wormholes for our fleets. The wormhole generator doesn't have to be in the system that we jump from. They project a certain range around the system where they are in, and they can open a hole towards themselves. So if you're in another system, they can open a hole to let the fleet get back to the generator and then send them out somewhere else. We're gonna go into that when we start playing. All right, that is the generation here. You can choose your ship's appearance. We're gonna go with molluscoid because it I do think it works. I really do like that design. I think they did a tremendous job designing very different sorts of things. Although Distant Worlds, especially the extended edition, does do a great job of that as well. But yeah, that is it. Now we created our Great Old Ones race. Xenophobes, militarists, spiritualists, ruled by the divine Cthulhu. So we're gonna go ahead with these guys. Yeah. It's basically telling me that I'm doing this suboptimal, but this is a roleplay playthrough as much as it is sort of an achievement run. So you can choose how many stars you want, how many star systems. We're gonna go with huge, because why not? And then we're gonna choose a spiral shape for our galaxy that should look like the Milky Way, like our own galaxy, as much as possible. We're gonna have as many AI empires as we can. And we're gonna have some of these AI empires start with sort of a head start. This is kind of a great power mechanic from EU4, where you have some sort of a, yeah, some bigger blocks emerge naturally. We're gonna go up to insane difficulty. Oh, I'm sorry, my voice is giving out a bit. Yeah, insane difficulty, because that is the most fun. Normal, hard, insane. Yeah, insane, obviously. And then you can restrict the FTL method. You can basically put everyone on the level playing field and say there are only hyperspace lanes in this world, or you can only go via warp travel. But I do think that it adds a lot of interesting variety to the game. So we're gonna keep the different FTL methods. Gonna have any. And normally I do play in Iron Man mode if I play for myself, but for the recording it's better to have that off. But I'm gonna treat it like an Iron Man. We're not gonna save and load stuff if things go wrong. We just embrace the weirdness. But yeah, this has been the settings episode. I do hope that you join me for episode 1 in this series. If you want to see more of it, please consider subscribing to the channel so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a like, leave me any comments, any ideas that you have, any questions that I might answer. And yeah, thanks for joining me. Hope I see you next time. Bye bye.